910 combined opening YouTube audio script. This story is an updated, expanded edition. Based on Scorpio, a finalist work of the second Proud Korean Screenplay competition. Reimagined as a one-source multi-use project for global audiences. A severed wrist posed like a handgun left in a bag. Paraffin traces. Plastination. Fingerprints erased clean. And now, a new body is found. A man with no wrist, abandoned behind the mountain of Daehong High School in Sungnam. The police chase personal grudges and jealousy. But the National Intelligence Service hears something else in the silence. A message, deliberate and trained. Who owned that accessory hand, the one ruined by a catastrophic fracture? Who had the knowledge, or the access to someone with the knowledge, to preserve human flesh like an exhibit? Then the answer strikes like lightning. The victim is identified former NIS officer Kim Bom-jun. A veteran who once survived the field, only to be dismantled after retirement. Wrist severed, throat compressed, head struck with brutal precision. And there's one more detail. A detail so filthy, so personal, it turns the stomach. A bite mark left on the corpse. A predator didn't just kill. He tasted his work. Inside the NIS, the debate erupts. Is this a private murder? A business dispute tied to a small security company, supplying fingerprint systems? Or a warning and execution linked to North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau? Timed perfectly when the world's cameras are aimed at Korea? Director Cho delivers the coldest truth. That's exactly when they would do it. A preserved hand. A missing wrist. A former agent. Crypto shadows. Bureau 39 rumors. And a killer who turns bodies into statements. The Beautiful Spy. Episodes 9-10. The message is no longer hidden. It's bleeding into the open. Episode 9. The Body Without Wrists. Former agent Kim Bom-jun. Jun Tae hurried down the corridor of the NIS Investigation Division. His footsteps quick and light. Why would team leader Kong call me in so late at night? Knock, knock. The moment he knocked, he pushed open the door to Dae-bom's office. Inside, Kong Dae-bom was on the phone, speaking quietly with someone. So the exhibition has already toured many countries. And it was a commercial success everywhere? Yes. It was even held here in Korea once. The public response was quite strong. But don't you ever think that people enjoying something like that is a bit cruel? Word spread quickly, and there were far more visitors than expected. Really? Really? I don't buy it. That's because you're kinder than you look, Mr. Kong. People actually enjoy these things. Human psychology. No, I couldn't take my kids to see something like that. I believe it's educational. Preserved human body exhibitions allow people to see everything vividly, from the brain down to the peripheral nerves that move the fingers. It's a live educational experience, showing the structure of organs and the brain. Then would you show that exhibition to your own children, Doctor? Absolutely. I believe you should. Then I suppose I'll take my kids as well. For educational purposes. But it's late. Aren't you going to sleep, team leader? I usually sleep on the cot in my office when I'm working. I'm still in decent shape. I'm on night duty today. There might be an emergency. Doctor, go, at least take a short nap when you can. You don't want that beautiful face ruined. Oh, thank you for worrying about me. You should take care of yourself too. I heard you were seriously injured before. How did you know that? I happened to find out. Did you investigate me? If so, I'll call the police. If you're just worried about me, then thank you. Which is it? Oh wow, you're sensitive. I'm just worried about you. Arrest me if you want. I will arrest you. Excuse me? Isn't that a bit much? I'll arrest you. On a reservation at a very good restaurant. Wow. You're bland. Thank you for your time tonight. I will definitely arrest you. Remember that. I'll consider it a preliminary coupon. Take care of your health. Thank you. And if I have more questions about forensic science, I'll call again. Anytime. Doctor, go, get some rest. Loyalty. Day-Bomb finally ended the call. When he turned around, Juntae was staring at him, grinning in disbelief. Why don't you just broadcast it live? You drag me in urgently, and you're flirting? Sorry. Something clicked. That was Dr. Go just now, right? Yeah. You look a lot better. That's the first time I've ever seen hearts popping out of your eyes. Hearts? No, I was just asking about forensic science. Nice vibe. So what is it? There was a department head in the NIS. What was his name again? Who? You know, the one who almost lost a hand during training. Who are you talking about? Lost a hand? He was going to take honorary retirement. But since retirement was close, he stayed on. Ah, right. There was a case like that. When they X-rayed the gun-shaped hand, they said it belonged to someone whose hand was so badly injured. It was practically non-functional. That triggered my instincts. I heard that man was seriously injured while working overseas. So he's the only one who retired from the NIS. With a disabled hand, right? That's true. If our assumption is right, it's entirely possible. If someone made that paraffin hand, they either mastered plastination themselves, or are using someone who has. So who would have that kind of skill? First, we should check if there are any ethnic Koreans from China or North Koreans who learned the technique in Germany or Chinese human body factories. China denies it, but I heard there used to be a facility in Dalian long ago. It'd be better to look quietly. China is geographically closer than Germany, and it's easier for North Koreans to get involved. All right, let's ask our IO in China to look into it discreetly. Hey, the news is coming on. Turn the volume up. MBR news anchor. At approximately 3:45 p.m. today, a body without wrists was discovered on the mountain behind Daehung High School in Sungnam. Police are expanding the investigation, focusing on motives such as personal grudges or romantic disputes. STS news anchor. Meanwhile, police are also expanding the scope of the investigation, considering the possibility that the victim may be connected to the paraffin-preserved hand found earlier at the Seoul Station subway depot. Detectives secured the scene with police tape. The severed wrist, cleanly cut, as if by a sharp tool. Forensic agents photographed the body and collected evidence. Hands scooped soil samples soaked with blood. Camera flashes erupted endlessly. Police officers searched the surrounding area with large black tracking dogs. A few days later, BZZZ, Dr. Go-eun-hee's name appeared on Dae-bom's phone. "Hello, Dr. Go. It's me. Let's meet this evening. Did you find something?" Surprisingly, the answer came quickly. From the dual-track investigation by the police and NIS. "Already? That's impressive. I'll be right there." Dr. Go-eun-hee was a forensic medicine specialist at the National Forensic Service. Her mind was fast. She primarily supported cases commissioned by the NIS. Even the NIS trusted her with sensitive materials and cases requiring strict confidentiality. Centralizing communication through her was essential for maintaining external security, sometimes even more important than the investigation itself. National Forensic Service. It was late at night. The examination center was brightly lit. Dae-bom and his team were guided into a small conference room. Dr. Go greeted them warmly. "Please, come in. Try to relax. Yes. We're not nervous. Does anyone here have a weak stomach for chemical smells?" "No, Dr. Go, you always look elegant." Dae-bom joked, having spoken with her several times on the phone. "You're trying to relax the mood, right? My name isn't elegant. It's Go-eun-hee. I prefer Eun-hee. Team leader Kong, call me Go-eun, then. My parents didn't name me for you to play with it. There was once someone in this world so beautiful and gentle. And her name was Go-eun-hee. Again with the jokes. If you cross the line, I'll lock you in a morgue drawer. You'll cry. Ha ha, you're prickly. I just saw a beautiful woman and compliments escaped naturally. So, did you find something? You won't be joking once you hear this. Who is it? Someone I know? I recognized him immediately from the medical records. I'd met him several times long ago. Who? Let's go through the data slowly. Dental X-ray images appeared on the screen. Medical records. Charts. Photographs. The owner of the wristless body is Director Kim Bom-jun. Director Kim Bom-jun? The former NIS Director Kim Bom-jun? Yes. He always struggled with dental issues. Everyone gets dental treatment. His case was severe. But doctor, he's not someone who would come here personally. He did several times, for confidential cooperation. I see. He used to say he needed dental treatment, but never had time. That he'd get scolded again for missing appointments. That bad? According to the records, he suffered a great deal. Even when I escorted him. He avoided the NIS dental clinic, and went all the way to the hospital near Sangbong Terminal. The dentist's charts show extremely poor oral health. Compared to people his age. His dental age was recorded as 20 years older. 20 years older? If he was in his 40s. His gums were like those of someone in their 60s. So severe periodontal disease. Yes. Teeth fell out early and became loose. This case must have been difficult to identify. With the wrists severed, the dental records were decisive. The police must have struggled at first. These are the dental panoramic images and treatment records provided by the police. He barely had any real teeth left. Comparing the crowns on the upper left second molar number 26 and upper right second molar number 16. They match Kim Bom-jun's dental records exactly. What's a molar? In dialect, the grinding tooth. In standard terms, a molar. Tooth color, spacing, size, missing teeth. And bite alignment. It's a 100% match. Any other identification evidence? We checked skin, hair, surgical scars. Nothing else distinctive. Not yet. Director Kim once suffered a severe hand injury. Yes. Very severe. We found X-rays from Samjang Hospital. Compression fractures destroyed the joints. So that's why you said, accessory. Yes. When I saw the paraffin hand, I thought, this hand was so badly damaged. It was practically decorative. I see. Dr. Go slid the documents toward Day Bomb. So the severed wrist we found earlier. It belonged to him. Yes. The paraffin wrist was his. The primary cause of death was hemorrhage. From wrist amputation. Excessive bleeding? There's more. At the time of death, his neck was strongly compressed. The scalp and neck show cyanosis. Cyanosis? Yes. Petechial hemorrhages appear in asphyxiation. You can see them around the face and eyelids. Did he resist? There are bruises around the neck, from the assailant's fingers, but not severe? If he had resisted violently, the bruises would be larger and irregular. So, based on the condition, he likely wasn't capable of resisting. How long does it take for cyanosis to appear? At least 15 seconds of sustained strangulation. There are bruises near the eyes too. They're darker, indicating a strong blow to the skull. These bastards, what did they do to him? Stay calm. Look objectively. This injury? A scalp laceration. Hard to find under hair. We almost missed it. Discovered during autopsy. What about the other bruises? They don't cause death, but they tell us what happened. And in your view? I believe the killer restrained his wrist in a vise. A factory vise. Immobilized the wrist and chopped it off with a sharp tool? Likely an axe or hatchet. When the hand loosened, he struck the head with a blunt object. So when he still resisted, they cut off the wrist and strangled him? That's one possible reconstruction. Those sons of bitches. I'll make sure they rot in prison. Team Leader Kong. There's one more thing. What? You'll be shocked. What is it? He chewed it. Chewed what? Where? Which part? Episode 10. The bite mark on the corpse's hip. After leaving the National Forensic Service, Day-Bomb and Junte headed straight back to the NIS. In a small conference room, they reviewed the forensic findings. They were about to report to Director Cho. Day-Bomb flipped through the documents on the table with sharp, focused eyes. What they had feared had now become reality. He tilted his head again and again, troubled. Before long, Director Cho entered, and the meeting began. The screen slides down. Junte uploaded the forensic results onto the screen. The beam projector cast a bright light as the images appeared. Some time ago, a severed wrist was found inside a gift box on a subway rack. The shape of the hand resembled a handgun, as if someone was pointing a gun, ready to fire. Ready to shoot someone. Yes, I remember that. And later, a male body missing its left wrist was discovered. On the mountain behind Daehung High School in Sungnam. So you're saying that the wrist found on the train belonged to that body? Yes. In the end, that conclusion is correct. The investigation was going poorly. Yet you managed to identify him quickly. Dr. Go Eun-hee at the Forensic Service. requested cooperation from Detective Ma at the National Police Agency. What exactly did she do? She examined the teeth of the wristless body, and told Detective Ma how to narrow it down. She solved it through dental evidence? She instructed him to search dental records, specifically patients who had crowns, on the upper left second molar number 26, and the upper right second molar number 16. That's how they solved it so fast. Dr. Go is sharp. Very sharp. The police investigation teams then searched orthopedic records, finding X-ray charts with similar wrist fracture patterns, narrowing down the victim pool. Excellent work. Let's give them a round of applause. Clap, 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 clap. As a result, the victim was identified as former director Kim Bom-jun. Director Kim Bom-jun? The Kim I know? Yes. And we've secured another crucial piece of evidence. What is it? Say it. Dr. Go reported that there is a bite mark on Director Kim Bom-jun's hip, believed to belong to the perpetrator. A bite mark? That bastard's a pervert. Why bite a person? Is he a dog? A rabid dog of a bastard. It appears the perpetrator became excited during the mutilation and bit the corpse. Disgusting. What kind of filthy freak does something like that? That's why forensic odontologists assisted us. They took an impression of the bite mark. Fortunately, the body was not severely decomposed. So it was possible. That could be decisive evidence. Yes. Exactly. There have been similar cases in the past. In one serial murder case, the killer left a bite mark on a victim's hip, which later became crucial evidence in court. So bite marks embedded in flesh can be technically analyzed and presented as evidence. Forensics has come a long way. It has advanced significantly. Anything else? The perpetrator's teeth are extremely deformed. In Korea, most people would have had orthodontic treatment or extractions, but apparently he lived with them. That's an important detail. Orthodontics aren't even an option if someone grows up in poverty. That's why they believe the suspect is likely from a place with poor medical infrastructure, possibly a North Korean civilian, or someone from an underdeveloped region of China. How severe is the deformity? Very severe. Cases like this exist where such unique dental structures became irrefutable evidence, either identifying a corpse or proving a suspect's guilt. Has a bite mark ever been decisive evidence? Yes. The 1979 case of American serial killer Ted Bundy. Interesting. He was described as a serial killer with antisocial personality disorder, a man who hid an evil soul behind charm. I've heard of that case. Wasn't there debate whether he killed 30 or 50 victims? Director Cho spoke while staring at the images on the screen. That aside, you're certain the body is Director Kim Bom-jun? Yes. Without a doubt. Damn, how did it come to this? He and I even trained together. In a CIA program back in the day. You shared a posting? He was a master of high-altitude jumps. What a cruel fate. Director Cho's expression hardened. He stared at the crime scene photos on the screen. Then slowly shook his head. Which security company was Kim Bom-jun working at? Eugene Bio. Company size? They have an office in Yeoksam-dong. About 50 employees. A small firm. Small. Despite that, they recently supplied access control systems to 5 local governments and several government buildings. For a new company, they're doing remarkably well. Anything else? These are materials related to their recently delivered fingerprint recognition systems. Director Cho carefully flipped through the business documents Juntae had prepared. Tisk. Why do you think Kim Bom-jun was targeted? Given the brutality, one might suspect a personal relationship motive. He wasn't the type to make enemies. I know him well. The police assessment is similar. They believe he had no known grudges. Then what is it? Who would possibly resent him? This is speculation, but perhaps what? Those who harbor resentment toward the NIS. Possibly retaliation by North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau. Resentment toward the NIS? That sounds far-fetched. We always consider assassination or terrorism risks related to North Korea. From a counterintelligence perspective, it may be worth examining. Then examine it from that angle. At that moment, team leader Yoon Juntae interjected. Director, at this stage, we still need to determine whether this was a revenge killing or a murder tied to business competition. Prematurely blaming North Korea could be dangerous. Juntae analyzed the situation from a different perspective than Dae-bom. And why do you think that? Dae-bom found Juntae's near rebuttal irritating. But listened. Juntae lifted his chin and exhaled sharply. We're in the middle of the World Cup, the Asian Games, and the G20 summit. The world's cameras are on the Korean peninsula. Would North Korea really assassinate a former NIS agent at such a time? They'd gain nothing, only diplomatic isolation. Dae-bom listened silently. Several agents nodded. Then Director Cho cut in. His voice low and firm. That's exactly the timing they would choose. The room froze. Director Cho tapped the table once, slowly. Then continued calmly but decisively. When the world's eyes are on us. They may think the opposite. They wouldn't dare now. They exploit that assumption. John Tae asked cautiously. You believe the situation is that urgent? Director Cho frowned slightly. Our opponent is the Reconnaissance General Bureau. Recently, cryptocurrency asset flows have been suspicious. We also received intel that someone inside Bureau 39 was eliminated. That's not coincidence. Daebom repeated the words thoughtfully. Former agent. Cryptocurrency. International summits. The timing overlaps. Director Cho placed his hand on the table. We can't conclude yet. But it's too early to dismiss North Korean involvement. Suspicion must be carried to the end. They always move when we think we're wrong. There's one more unusual detail. Unusual how? The severed hand shows a technique normally used in anatomical exhibitions. Those human body exhibition models? Yes. Plastination. A case never attempted before. So essentially a paraffin process? Similar. Immediately after death, acetone is injected to remove moisture and fat. Remove fat? Yes. The acetone replaces it. Like nail polish remover? Exactly. Once the acetone fully penetrates, the body is placed in a vacuum chamber to vaporize it, and then the vaporization creates suction, which draws in preservative, a plastic solution. Was preservative found in the severed hand? Yes. High polymer materials, such as silicone and epoxy. What's their goal? There must be a message. We're exploring all possibilities. They're taking extreme risks, such grotesque, twisted acts. Kim Bom-jun lived his life, working tirelessly. That's what makes it more tragic. We must catch the perpetrator at all costs. Yes. If this is merely a murder, it falls to the police. But if it's a direct act of terror or warning against a former NIS agent, it's another matter. You're referring to jurisdiction? Yes. It may involve North Korea's Reconnaissance Bureau or Operations Unit. Then how do we proceed? If it's murder, police jurisdiction. If espionage or terrorism, the NIS. Shouldn't we just receive the police findings? Yes, but we mustn't lose time. The suspect may flee overseas. Are you referring to the Lee Han-young assassination? Yes. And others who escaped to the north. Then we'll strengthen coordination with the police immediately. How? As a show of cooperation. Director, please meet the police commissioner yourself. You want me to meet him? Yes. Ask that results be shared closely. Since this case overlaps a murder and a possible North Korean assassination, I'll contact the police agency. Fine. Arrange a meeting at Samcheongguk. Yes, sir. Samcheongguk. Beyond Samcheongdong Pass stood Samcheongguk, a grand traditional estate. Old pine trees lined the path, their arrangement meticulous. Flowers carefully cultivated, like a master landscaper's artwork. Police Commissioner Young Hak Soo rose to greet them. A massive frame, a heavy jaw softened by thick flesh. Director Cho, how have you been? Commissioner, you've been working hard. We all work to survive. The landscaping here is beautiful. This place used to be frequented by powerful figures, didn't it? So I've heard. Even Her Iraq enjoyed it. Are there many places like this in Seoul? The reason I asked to meet the Sungnam murder victim has been identified as a former NIS agent. A former agent? I only knew him as Kim Bom-jun, the victim. That's why. This won't be easy to solve as a simple murder. The suspects may be sleeper agents we're already tracking. Sleeper agents? Then why not let the NIS handle it entirely? We can't. Police cooperation is essential. Of course. Our priority is capturing the perpetrator. So let's conduct a joint investigation. Director, are you saying we should just run errands for the NIS? Commissioner, that's harsh. Cooperation doubles effectiveness. I already received a call from the Blue House Civil Affairs line. Everything's arranged. Have a drink. We're counting on the police. Of course. You're the big house. At that moment, Dae-bom leaned in and whispered something to Director Cho. Director Cho's eyes hardened. Food crumbs scattered from his mouth as he barked an order. Is that so? Then break it open. Now. Immediately. 9:10 combined ending YouTube audio script. Kim Bom-jun is dead. And his death is not random. The forensic report paints the scene with merciless clarity. The wrist severed. The neck compressed long enough to stain the skin blue. A blow to the skull. A body that could barely fight back. But the worst clue isn't the wound. It's the bite. A mark pressed into flesh. A signature left by someone warped. Confident and close enough to savor the act. For the NIS, that bite is more than disgust. It's leverage. An impression has already been taken. A future courtroom truth waiting to snap shut like a trap. Still, the larger question remains. Why Kim Bom-jun? A former agent tied to a small company, Eugene Bio, supplying access control and fingerprint systems. A target too specific, too symbolic. Murder or message? Dae-bom argues suspicion must stay alive. Counterintelligence cannot look away. Juntae warns against reckless conclusions. With the World Cup, Asian Games, and G20 turning Korea into a global stage. And then Director Joe makes his move. He calls for the police commissioner. Sam Chongik. A polished table. Pine trees outside. Diplomatic smiles hiding sharpened teeth. A joint investigation is proposed. Because if the suspect is a sleeper agent, the killer won't wait for paperwork. But in the middle of the meal, Day-Bomb leans in and whispers. Director Cho's eyes change. His voice drops like a guillotine. Is that so? Then break it open. Now. Immediately. The hunt has shifted. The preserved hand was a warning. The missing wrist was a confirmation. And the bite mark is the start of a trail that leads straight into the dark. Next episode, the lid comes off. And whatever's been sealed inside will finally breathe. The Beautiful Spy. Episodes 9-10. The message has been delivered. Now it will be answered.